right, here we are. As you all know, this your boy, the King, aka got the young kid, Mr. B. Landon, aka the young king, Bell, and then we got our other king, my man from Texas too, Keandre Ghost.
He goes, Key Nasty, they like to call him back in the
man, hold up, man. Don't get into him that way.
Well, he do. Look how he doing me already. We ain't even started yet.
Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to another We Just Chilling.
Facts.
So from last week, we was covering objectifying women.
Yes.
We talked about how it was something that's a internal process that needs to be something that you need to change about yourself. What was interesting was after we had that good old podcast, we had a song that had a video that came out by two queens, and it was
that wet A
right.
word, that wet A P word.
Right. So
look, you lost me at I don't cook, I don't clean,
but I'm gonna show you how I got this ring.
No, you ain't getting no ring from me. I'm sorry.
Right.
You gotta bring something else to the table.
Fellas, hold on. Hello. Oh, you on the road? Oh Lord. Well, we'll try to get you on next time.
We really got to get our time in. Anytime I say a time, it's gonna be my time. I'm not thinking about Jacksonville, Florida.
Talking about how it's not just us, you know what I'm saying? It's both sides doing it. Granted, a lot of people was talking about how stuff has been like that going on for years and just let it be, But I'm just like, I thought we were supposed to be trying to build a better culture. It had me a little confused. I'm like, all right, whatever. So don't get me wrong. I've listened to some of those songs and all that had good times to some of those type songs, but on the whole, that ain't something I'm really into. You feel what I'm saying?
I probably kind of lost some of it because I got kicked out, but I feel where you're coming from.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, you sure did leave us. But, man, that's what we talked about last week. Anybody else got any input from last week?
Nah, I mean, I think we covered it pretty extensively for an hour and a half meeting, We got some good reviews, some good talks. I had some female individuals who I said, watch it, let me see what you think. And, they agreed. I even we got my sister on the tail end of that last one. So
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, man.
I saw a little portion of that video, and as I sit there and tried to observe as much of it as I could, I'm like, man, they ain't making this situation easy whatsoever.
What? Man, look here. Listen.
Luckily, I didn't watch the whole video. I saw clips of people's reviews.
I'm good.
But, I mean, this is what our young ladies and our women are seeing as their role models or their goals. And I'm like, look here.
That's the portrayal of how the black woman is. It's like, no, that ain't all of the women, man. That's just some of them. And
I ain't even gonna go down that rabbit hole, but I picked up a couple other things that I noticed in that video, and I'm like, look, we ain't headed in a good direction. This is looking real familiar, and we'll talk about that one off air. But yeah, man, it's not a good look right now. It's not a good look at all.
Man, and I was sitting there like, man, this is crazy. Because we literally had talked about this. Like, it just
we did.
Just like that.
We did.
And honestly, though, from a lyrical standpoint, and like how they was doing their little metaphors and similes, I got to give them their props. That jump was kind of.
Oh, they definitely dope with the bars. They definitely dope with it.
I couldn't take that away from that point. But from the other
side, I turned that off and went and watched Rum Nitty versus Av. I'd rather watch some battle rap.
Lord.
All right. Touche.
But I want to go ahead and dive in.
Let's get it. Where we at? So we're going to talk about how do you self-heal? Now, there's no perfect answer to this.
What are we talking about again? And turn your mic up a little bit.
How do you self-heal?
Say that one more time.
How do you self-heal? There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. Okay.
Nope.
But
the right answer is to heal.
Right. That is the right answer. But we can't tell you. We can only tell you what we personally do, that we have experienced for ourselves. So there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. There's some tricks you may be able to try, but it's not built for everybody.
Right. Man. But yeah, man. Brandon, your mic sounds a little low over there, bro.
We're going to get it started today the right way.
Oh, Lord. Here he go.
Yeah, we're going to get it started the right way
today. Hey, salute.
Salute, my brother. Salute.
Buble, my brother.
we still low?
Yeah, but ain't no trip. But so we're gonna self-healing. What is first we gotta understand what is self-healing. Ooh.
Well, look, I want to jump back a point further than that. We gotta figure out what's wrong. We have to identify the issue, and if there is,
you gotta be able to self-reflect. If you can't
self-reflect,
ain't no way you can be able to self-heal.
Wait a minute. I mean, we gotta go ahead and stand in the mirror. You gotta stand in that mirror, huh?
Word to Mike.
You gotta look at the man in the mirror, baby.
Ooh. That's factual. Factual.
At the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways.
Yes, sir.
No offense in me any clearer. I forgot the rest of the lyrics, but you get my point.
Hey, listen. Hey, Mike was on to something. He was letting you know he ain't like what he saw within his own self. You know what I'm saying? So how many of us look in the mirror and go, you know what? I do need to fix that.
At times, and it's hard, you know, because some people, you know, people have them narcissistic tendencies where they're never wrong. They don't see a problem. They know something's wrong, but they feel like they're not the problem.
So the first thing first, you got to recognize that you yourself can't be a problem.
Yes. Because it's not everybody all the time. Sometimes it might just be you.
So we got to go ahead. So we got to start off in the beginning. We got to get us a mirror.
A good one. Walmart, $14.98.
We got to put some Windex on that bad boy to get off all the dust. And then go ahead and look in the mirror. And then we got to start. What do we start looking at first, though?
Hey, Queen, how you doing? That's my mama. Thank you.
So what do we start? What we started healing at first?
Well, I mean, one of my bullet points that I had wrote down was you have to look at your position in life, and I feel like there would be a good evaluation starting point because it's okay. How's my money looking? How is my friendship circle? How's my my living situation? How's my car? Like when you take a small basis to just kind of look around and see where you are and where you want to go, and you evaluate that situation from there. So it's like, okay, I don't have the car I want. Now we have to get to the why. Why do I not have the car I want? And you start looking at all of the how you spend your money. You start looking at your work situation. Are you doing enough? Are you doing too much? Are you spending more time doing something else than you should be with the other ordeal? And you start working your way from there. And eventually you'll bar down to a lot of the reasons that you don't have what you want or you aren't where you want to be. It's simply because of the decisions that you make.
Right.
So I'm going to make this a little medical thing right quick. So what you're telling me is we're going to do a head-to-toe assessment.
Right.
Is that what you saying,
Decap BTLS.
You telling me
it needs to be first? Look, we need to do this a semi-annual whole assessment. So let's look at it out. Why is my hair? Look, why is my hairline receding? Why my beard ain't filling in? Let's look at this.
Start up here first, baby. So that means, like you said, we got to go inside that brain and be like, all right, where's your mindset? Ooh. So that means you got to.
That's what we do.
Let me see. Let me use this as an example. You see this can? It's sitting, let's say it was sitting on the counter like this, but that's not how I want the can to be. So I got to reposition that bad boy like this right here. So what you're saying is we got to take our brain and reposition it to be in a better thinking realm.
Do anything.
You gotta find true north. Find true north.
And you gotta find what helps you with that. Like me personally, you go in my bathroom, you see some sticky notes on my mirror. I'm always in the bathroom. Brush my teeth, wash my face, brushing my hair. I got sticky notes, goals, wants, ambitions that I can constantly look at to reaffirm myself. Okay, I'm not remaining stagnant. I'm working to something. You got to keep your head on straight.
Look at you. Ooh. And so,
hey man, them sticky notes, man, do wonders. Like straight up, them sticky notes do wonders.
So we got to start off with, actually setting a goal. So our first goal got to be to reposition my mindset.
Well, no, your first goal got to be the willingness to open up to yourself and be able to self-reflect.
That's so you said, so the first thing is stop hiding from you.
Yes.
So you got to stop hiding from yourself.
Yes.
Oh.
And at the same time, if sometimes you can't do that, be open to what other people are saying. Granted, everybody has opinions like assholes. Everybody has them. Some of them stink, some of them are okay. But the thing is, like somebody may see something that you're doing and can open your eyes up to it because you don't think it's wrong.
Or you can't see it because you only can see from this side. You can't see from the people looking at you.
Like me trying to teach people how to do IVs. I can watch you. I can see your angle is completely wrong. I tell you, like, what do you mean? I've been doing IVs this long. I'm like, okay, go ahead, do it. Your pace is jumping. Your pace is uncomfortable.
Like you at the top looking down, while you at the side actually looking at the angle that I can't even see it because I'm only looking at from this angle. So that means you got to go ahead and learn how to open up to yourself.
Change perception.
And then you got to, before we get to change perception, you got to open it to yourself. And then you got to be able to take criticism.
Correct.
And then you got to learn how to look from another side. And then after you learn how to look from the other side, now you can go ahead and reposition your brain and your mindset.
There we go.
So is that what we're saying?
That's exactly what we're saying. For us, we just chilling. We don't know everything.
But wait. I think everybody could use that.
They could, but we got to give them this.
I don't think nobody can go wrong with it.
You got to do it, dog. How you gonna fix yourself?
Cover that real quick.
You can't get no further. So basically, because of my mind not being right, it's gonna hold my body down.
Right.
But that has to be recognized first.
Right.
That has to be recognized first. So we got a weird cycle that we got to go through before we even get remotely close to self-healing. We got to figure out what's going on first. We got to figure out if our mind is right, not right, backwards, upside down. We got to figure that point out. We have to identify it.
We got to do labs.
Yeah, we got to do labs.
You got to run a
everything.
CP. You got to run
tests.
You got to run blood gas.
EKGs, ECGs,
EEGs,
WIPs,
like everything. We got to balance everything. We got to figure out are we okay.
We got to do what else?
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, we got to do it.
And that's
PSA,
why
PSA.
And that's why I always get speakers in my car. Because I do my best thinking when I'm driving and listening to music. I do my best.
Man, truth be told, that's healing.
Best times of reflection. Healing. Right.
Man, what's crazy is when I be cutting the grass, my mind is thinking. I'm out there the other day I was over there, like scrubbing my carpets in the inside of the car. Inside of the truck, I'm scrubbing. And my mind just like, man, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? You do all this, and sometimes you can't even reach the goals you're trying to get to. I'm over here just talking to myself like, man, I got to get better at doing this. I got to fix this. I got to find a way this. But I'm like,
exactly.
Man. And then it's like when you're doing stuff like that, you believe yourself.
And our thought processes are completely different. Completely. Like I love chess. So I think of my life as chess. What moves do I have to make to get to the other point? But then you got some people.
Bro, I never knew that about you.
What?
Like, I never knew that. I never knew you played chess.
I do, but there's some people,
man, we're going to get together and make that happen now.
There's some people I won't play against.
Listen, that's a newly acquired talent, bro.
I ain't playing against Henry ever again.
Look, I'm trying to get with it.
Listen, hold on, time out. I'm sorry. Let us jump off subject right quick since we brought up chess. There's this guy we used to
Okay.
work with, Mr. Henry, Mr. Henry Harden. He said, "Time you want to learn how to play chess, Jones?" I said, "Sure, why not?" So I'm at the house. He's like, "Come on, man, let's come over here. Let me set this up for you." This man only had he only had the two horsemen,
Knights.
The two knights, and
see, he sound different. He sound different at this point.
Listen, I had all the pawns. He had two knights. He said, "Don't let me get across." I'm like, "I'm finna get across. I got this." Man, I'm over there moving like he can't catch me. He can't catch me. Little did Darius forget, Mr. Nightman over here, he makes the shape of an L. And that Negro could retreat and attack at the same time in the same move. And I can't do nothing about it because Mr. Pawn can only go straight ahead. So here I am trying to skate across the street. Doodaloo, 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 doo. Henry, come over there. Hiya. You over there like, I'm going to try to make another one. Doodaloo, 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 doo. Hiya. I'm like, all right, I lost two. All right, let's go. Man, 2 seconds later, all of them is gone. And I'm sitting there looking like boo-boo the fool.
And mind you, he can't see nothing to save his life.
Now look, he said, all right, now let's switch it up. He said, let's switch it up. So we switch it up. I'm like, oh, I'm finna get him. Man, he's sucking me in real quick. I'm like, oh, I'm finna get this night. Boy, I got that night. Next thing you know, Mr. Pond said, oh, you thought you just gonna take my boy? Oh no, I got one left. And he still got all his paws. Ah, no. Next thing you know,
I ain't nowhere near it, my guy. I ain't nowhere near it.
Man, that man say, finish him, fatality. I don't want to play no more.
I stopped playing.
Oh man, I'm trying to get that good.
You see, Brandon know about that butt whipping.
Brandon, you got to answer for this.
I ain't got no answer. I never beat him.
Brandon, you got to answer for this now.
Ain't nobody listen, man. Henry makes you want to throw the whole board on the ground. How about that? Ha! We both lose.
I ain't playing with your ass. I'm going home.
Man.
So, let's get on back to this self-healing stuff, man. I mean, like you said,
come on with it.
You got to look at yourself. You know, chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know what I'm saying? But that's a big thing. So the first and the most important thing to do when it comes to self-healing is find out what the problem is. And in order to find out what the problem is, you got to look within yourself and stop being afraid of what you're going to see. So that's what we got to do. So boom, we finally did step one. We identified the problem.
And
so
we self-reflected. So we listened to opinions of others.
Okay, so we got all that culminated.
Listen to opinions of others who have our well-being in their mind. All
right, we got it all together, right?
Right.
So what are we gonna do here now? Is this does this start the healing process?
Now it's time for the declaration.
Or is this the phase of planning, the planning phase? I think this is the planning phase. This is
the planning stage is still part of the healing process.
No, but what I'm saying is this is the planning phase before we start the healing process.
Right. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to get yourself in a better situation?
Right. So when you find out the problem, let's say with me, let's say my stubbornness is a problem, right?
You ain't got to be dog.
So how do we fix this stubbornness? First, we've recognized what the problem is and we self-identified that. So I think our first thing we need to do is learn how to understand when I'm being stubborn.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you want to change it or not?
Huh?
Because sometimes being stubborn is a real good thing. And sometimes it can be the thorn in your throat.
Right. Key word. Sometimes.
Right. That's what I said.
Not every situation dictates it.
Right. You don't need to be stubborn all the time. That's why I say you got to look at it first. When am I being stubborn? And then secondly, what am I being stubborn for? You know, is it a stubborn is like,
okay, all right.
So if they say like, hey, you know what, you're going to die in 2 days. You're like, no, I'm not going to die in those 2 days. That's when you need to be stubborn to prove them that you don't control how my destiny goes. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you have a wife or whatever, and or somebody you dating, and she's like, hey, listen, I'm telling you, the best way to help you with your bad sleeping is to stop drinking water at 7 o'clock. You like, man, hell, I'm grown. I'm gonna do what I want to do. So
I did that.
You complain about you want to sleep better, and she gave you advice, and now you're being stubborn.
I had a full argument with my provider at the VA. He's like, "Oh, how much coffee you drink?" You know, about 34 bangs and maybe a cup of coffee. He's like, "Oh, you have a caffeine problem. You know what your recommended dosage is?" Recommended dosage? Yeah, I know it's 300 milligrams a day. Do you know how much is inside of each of these? Yeah, probably like 400 milligrams. I don't need you to tell me how to live my life.
See?
But I listen. I cut back some.
Hey, we're gonna check him in today. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna check him in. We're gonna get him some help.
I'm not caffeine. I told him I'm not caffeine dependent. I use it for.
No, you sir. You sir. We gonna get you the necessary help that you need before we be looking at and you be on them cases at 2:00 in the morning on TV asking about if you had a caffeine problem. You can call this little 1-800 number. You may be able for compensation. We gonna help you.
Hey, check in, fellas. We 28 minutes. We got 28 minutes left.
Maybe, but we'll see.
But so you know what? I just thought about something as we were just sitting there chit-chatting. So I think stubbornness is for everybody. I don't think it's just for me in this situation. Now that I think about it, I think stubbornness is something we all got to deal with. If you're being stubborn to change, I think everybody has that problem. We're stubborn when it's time to change. I think that's what makes it hard. And then, so the best way to do is catch yourself doing it and say, I'm not going to do this. Or better yet, like Jay said, start off with your declaration to yourself, I'm no longer going to be stubborn. So now that's the goal. Yes. So now when you feel yourself, if you feel yourself fighting back when somebody's trying to tell you, hey man, your left shoe is a little crooked, and you're like, I wear shoes every day. Instead of doing that, now you're like, you know what? Let me check first.
Big. Let me fix it.
Let me see first. Oh no, it's not crooked. It's just the way my foot shaped. Oh, okay. You see, now you no longer being the same person you were when you were like, man, who the hell you think you're talking to? I'm grown, do what I want to do. Don't tell me nothing. You just being rude and disrespectful, and and innately bitch turn around. That's being stubborn. Instead of just saying, you know what? Maybe he saw something I didn't see. So we're gonna start with fix being stubborn, and I'm no longer going to do it. And how do we recognize that? Like, what signs do we have that to recognize that?
Signs that your stubbornness is a problem, or that you have a problem,
or when it's like when you're being stubborn, or you feel yourself starting to be stubborn.
That goes back to self-reflection. Once you make that declaration to yourself, then you have to be more in tune of seeing what is going on.
So you got to look within yourself even more, so you can know. So I know for me,
usually you'll get those answers from those that are telling you that you're stubborn. And I'm pretty sure when you have a problem and you are choosing, they tell you. So it's usually somebody that already told you. It's up to you to listen and evaluate that for yourself. And after you realize that, you know what, I might just be a little bit on the stubborn side. And from that, we can pick and choose the time frames of when to be stubborn and when not to be stubborn, and who to be stubborn with and who not to be stubborn with. And then from there, you can start fine tweaking to elevate who you are as an individual.
Right. And we're not saying stubborn is everything, but this is just for him personally.
No, it's no longer. No, I said it's no longer just personal, because I think the first thing is dealing with stubbornness, which is stubbornness to change. So you can't start healing if you're too stubborn with your own self.
Okay, I see where you're going with it. I'm tracking. I'm tracking.
Okay. So we're gonna get out. So basically, we just got to get out our own way.
But there's a lot of people who have narcissistic tendencies who still don't see fault in whatever they do.
So the healing process starts with recognizing, finding the problem, planning on how to fix the problem. And then, but before we start planning it, we make a declaration. I mean, before we start putting action and stuff, we make a declaration. I'm no longer going to do this. So now the action starts. So we had the action phase. So now this is when I feel like the action phase is the real. To me, this is the real part of self-healing. Putting into play what can help you do better. And the healing process is something that I think one of our biggest problems is we want the healing process to be fast. And it's like the damage wasn't fast. The damage was over time. You know, like with some of us not having our dads around. That damage didn't just start on the first day we was born. That damage was the whole time we was living.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when it's time for me to fix all of that heartbreak and disappointment, it's gonna be a daily process. And I think one of the problems,
that might be the most critical part. Like that might be the most critical part of this year. So we definitely want to spend some time on that portion of the topic because I don't think we can stress that issue enough. Shoot, man.
right?
God,
that time thing is something serious, man.
That's it, man.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Say it again.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Right.
All right, man. You giving us these Navy terms?
Nah, that ain't even it. That's just I was taught that playing football.
Nah, they just told us hit hard, run fast.
They said you got to be ready for the game, Doc.
Hell, don't you get on your back no more.
Hey, hit hard, run fast. Yeah.
But nah, bro, I mean, that time is serious. Time is serious.
Yes.
We live in a microwave society, so we start to want, I need this to hurry up. And it's like, bro, stuff don't happen overnight, man.
Not at all.
It don't happen overnight.
It's patience and consistency.
Right. And so it's that mindset. You got to have the mindset of a gardener. You know, you got to know, I got to make sure I'm checking. I got to check every day. I got to make sure I'm feeding. I got to make sure I'm letting it get air.
Yeah.
Make sure the sun is touching it. Make sure the water's there. You know, you got to go down the list. Hold on, fellas. Excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, that patience, man, and self-accountability, man, is something completely different. I mean, that's something that we all, for the most part, we seem to lack that. And it's something that we really need to
accountability,
find ourselves. Yes, a lot of us lack that. Truth be told, because it's like, man, we want to point the finger and blame somebody else at all points in time as to why we aren't who we want to be or why our lives aren't working out the way they want to work. A self-accountability will take us a long way, and being responsible for our actions, you know, that'll help you develop a whole different realm of discipline that we didn't ever know that, you know, we had within us. You know, we didn't know we could possess something like that. So, you know, that understanding that it takes time and being patient, that honestly, in my opinion, man, that's more than half the battle. You know what I'm saying? After you've already acknowledged the issue and made your declaration, just being able to take the time and being patient and really not being so hard on yourself. Yeah. I mean, if we're going to be hard on ourselves, man, it's not going to we're going to have a real tough uphill battle. And it's just understanding that each day we have to take a step.
And then you got to give yourself realistic standards. Okay. You can be hard on yourself.
That's it.
You can't give yourself non-realistic. Like I'm making $22,000 a year. I can't just come up and be like, okay, next year I'll make $100,000. Give yourself some realistic standards to acquiring what you want to get. Because if you give yourself non-realistic standards, you're going to give yourself more stressors, and you're going to feel, I guess you can say, lack of a better term, you're going to start feeling down. And then I feel like you're going to start regressing at that point.
Right. And that's not what you want.
No. Realistic standards.
Let's find that happy medium. Yeah, we need to find that happy medium. You don't want to just be too easy on yourself. You don't want to say I'm making 25 and I'm going to make 27 next year. No, let's put it at a cool 50. I think a cool 50 is easily obtainable. You know, even if you say 65. But, you know, in respect to goal wise, you know, that's giving us something where we're like, okay,
like you said, I can. If you at 22, if you're 22, your next goal should be, you know what, I'm trying to get 30. I'm probably 25, but I'm gonna push for 30. You get what I'm saying? Both of them are realistic, depending on what kind of work you're doing and how you're implementing what you need to get done. So, yeah, man, it's gonna take time. Be mindful
of your work.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna take time, man. I think that's a big one.
And I'm gonna bring up Shifu again. His name is Workhorse. I took over that title of Workhorse 53, okay? Because I know I'm out here, I'm willing to grind. I know that for a fact. I don't mind grinding. I don't mind hustling for what I want. But I'm still trying to put myself in better situations. And I know there's a lot of things, you know, I've been self-reflecting lately. I'm trying to find my happiness per se. And I've been doing everything that y'all been talking about. And I'm glad that we're doing this platform for us. Like I said, like we talked about last episode, I'm not gonna talk to no white man about myself. You're not gonna
beat up on the couch in my Louis slippers.
Man, listen, I can't say that. I got a psychologist, and I ain't tripping. My psychologist, matter of fact, one of my psychologists I had went to at the VA, he was talking to me. He said, "Man, you so calm." I'm like, "Man, I had to learn how to be like this."
Right.
I didn't have no therapy in the beginning. I just had to keep fighting it to learn how to do it. But I feel like I think this is a form of therapy anyway, so this should be fine.
And this is for us and whoever else we bring on the platform. I got a couple more people.
Right.
We all got to get some topics. But
yeah, submit your topics, man. Anything you want to talk about, we'll get to
it. But
so with this self-healing part, man, after that, I think one of the things is after you set goals, and it's not wrong to be hard on yourself, but don't be so hard you don't overwhelm yourself.
Right.
And now we start, putting it in the work. And while you put this in the work, learn how to ask for help.
Right. But before that, sometimes you may need to take journeys alone. Sometimes you may need to have people with you. But if you're going to open up and have those people with you, make sure they have your best interest.
Right.
Not everybody has your best interest. If they don't have your best interest, then by all means, you cut ties. It's a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little extreme, but that's what you got to do to start focusing on yourself.
You got to protect you.
Right. So surround yourself by people who are loved ones who care about you and care about your growth. Period.
So you gotta go ahead and just ask for help. So recognize it's okay to ask for help from the right people.
Right. There we go. The right people.
So now
I think that's a part of that self-evaluation phase too.
Right.
You got to evaluate your circle.
Yeah, because that's a part of it. You got to, when you're about to take that step, you got to be able to look around like, okay, I'm going to have to start trimming fat because everybody might not be where I'm trying to go, and I don't need nobody stopping me from making that type of progressive movement that I'm trying to make my way to.
Right. Ain't no stopping us now. We on the move. Hey, you might have to hit him with that move trick. Get out the way.
Right. If they're not for the positive, it just doesn't need to be. And then at the same time, after all this self-reflecting, after surrounding yourself by loved ones, and then after implementing a proper plan, because if you fail to prepare properly, you are doomed to be a failure. Forget the past.
Absolutely.
That's going to be another one of the hardest things because you can't.
Hold on, wait.
Yes.
Nah, I'm about to say. Nah, don't forget it.
Don't
forget dwell on it.
Don't dwell. There's the word. Don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say because you don't want to forget that because that's when you learned that.
Right.
That was your teaching process. So you don't want to forget the lesson you learned because once you forget it, you might repeat it.
Right. So you have past relationships and don't ever think of situations like what I do personally. I don't think of situations as bad. I'll
be right back.
I don't think it as a negative. I think of it as a lesson to be learned. Like I had a terrible LPO before, a couple back to back.
Yeah.
Like Drake back to back. And I was I had a good first one, and then these other ones came in. I was like, this Navy thing ain't for me. But I took it at face value, and I was like, okay, this is how it's going to be. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to focus. And if I ever do become a leader, I'm not going to follow suit. But I'm going to give each person who's in that position, the right amount of respect at the time because you're new. I'm not going to bring what happened in the past over to you and blame you.
Yeah.
So don't.
That's why any situation I go in with, man, I had a mind of a defensive back, my position back then. But at any point in time, man, you can be burnt by a bad experience. one mistake, man, can cost you big and cost everybody around you big. So at that point, I just understand that it happened. What did I do wrong? Fix it and don't do it no more. You live to make another mistake again, man, until you become mistake free for the most part. And that's how we all have to live our lives. We have to learn from our past mistakes and past encounters, because the past, man, that's our history book. We got to be able to hold on to that and utilize it for our own. We got to be able to utilize it for our own progression. And if we don't, man, we're gonna find ourselves in a real terrible position. And I don't think that one of us want to remain in that pitfall.
What did I miss, fellas? I'm sorry.
We still on the same subject.
What pitfall?
Basically, I was saying, I was talking about because Brandon was talking about how he had a bad LPO, at one point in time, and he was saying that he was taking all of his bad experiences from while being in the Navy and having this bad leadership. Whenever he got to that point in time where he would be a leader, that he would look at all those bad qualities and take it upon himself to not have any of those bad qualities for his junior sailors.
Learning from the prior experience.
I'm saying,
right. Yeah. So take it as a lesson, even if it's negative or positive. Remember the lesson, but don't, like you said, don't dwell on it. And don't bring it into other situations. Keep the memory, because don't be insane. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So don't put yourself in that situation if it starts coming to that.
So that means you got to learn how to recognize when you're doing what was done to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think there's something that a lot of us really don't pay attention to. We don't ever look at how we project our experiences on people. And I'm like, that's something that we have to start doing, because, we've had X amount of bad experiences and we harbor that illness. We'll turn around and project that on the people, man. And next thing you know, you'll be trying to figure out why you have nobody in your corner. Mm-hmm. So, we always have to keep that in mind as to our situationship and how we better ourselves to better those around us. Because, it's like the old saying, each one teach one. Each person you encounter, they're going to teach you something, whether it's a good lesson or a bad lesson. And should be told there's no such thing as a bad lesson.
No,
it's just
they're all
character building.
It's a hard lesson. It ain't bad. It's just hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now that we got to that point, so now we know what self-healing is. That's our process. Our process all starts with us first.
Yeah. And
it's not saying that the other person is innocent. It's more of recognizing to make sure you got you right first before you start healing. Because if you ain't looking in to figure out what the problem is, you ain't gonna never be able to heal yourself.
So are you saying it's okay to be selfish sometime?
Oh yeah, you gotta be.
So one more time.
Absolutely.
That's like that. It was a scenario. I had a philosophy teacher that asked us a question. He said, if you see a mom and a daughter drowning, who do you say first? And everybody's like, oh, we're gonna say the child first, right? Cool. And then somebody said, he asked, he said, what happens when the mom dies? Who's gonna raise that child?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody that sat there, what about the family? What if she has no
class?
And then everybody just looked around. He was like, so in essence, sometimes you got to save the parents first. In other words, as a parent, you got to recognize your job is to be a parent, not to be a friend.
Yeah.
Okay. And understand that being a parent is what you do. It is not who you are. There's a big difference. You are who you are. Your name is whatever your name is. Mm-hmm. So that's what you are. It's who you are, rather. Now, what you are is a parent. You got to understand how to make sure you got time for yourself to be who you are in order for you to be the right parent. So that goes back to, like you said, you got to be selfish in order for you to find out what the actual problem is within yourself. So I think a big reason why we need self-healing, though, is because you can't. I think this goes back to relationships. I think if you don't self-heal, you go into a relationship and you damage the other person.
Right. And I'm gonna bring up. I've been in a couple entanglement relationships, I guess you can call them.
Here we
go. It's August. But
I'm not dealing with your foolishness.
Look, I got a serious point. Now I'm gonna wait till you come back. You gonna listen to me. You gonna listen to me.
Oh man. Eventually. But I'm like, yeah, man. It's one of them heavy topics, man, where it's just this is one of the more deals, man. We really got to start looking at who we want to be. Because, man, if you look around you, you'll see a bunch of people, man. They complain over and over and over again about constant outside forces having an effect on who they are as people. And I'm like, nah, it's not the outside forces. It's you allowing these outside forces to manipulate who you are. So I'm like, man, you gotta be 10 toes down. You gotta stand firm.
Like I got people at some jobs that work. I gotta work Christmas again, and we was in the Navy.
Yeah,
you got 24-hour duty on Christmas, son.
Big holidays.
But you gonna be upset about it?
I'm on a ship. I've been gone New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter.
After you get off, you get time.
What you know about the Steel Beach picnic?
We didn't even get paid. What you talking? We didn't even get paid extra. Y'all getting time and a half to work. Okay, now back to my little entanglement relationship thing. You thought you was gonna get away from this shit? Nah, dog. No.
Sorry, man. I had to grab me something. This like it's gonna be juicy. How do you miss that?
But I noticed like women have a tendency, and I'm not putting all the blame on women by no means, but women have a tendency to bring their past transgressions and problems into other relationships and everything. Period. Like you'll see some who have been in toxic relationships, and you got to climb Mount Everest, then you got to scalpel over the Great Wall of China with just a knife, and then when you get over there, you got the whole Mongolian army just waiting on you. You still got this knife, but it's kind of dull because you just climbed over. So now you got to get past them. And little did you know, there's a minefield on the way to the golden era.
Yeah, man. I think a whole lot of that can be avoided, man. Like, no, all that can be avoided if we would all just take that time to self-heal. Like, for all the viewers at this point in time, if you're not married, or even if you is, it really don't matter. Take some time to heal yourself. Take some time to understand how you tick, because truth be told, unless you were in a point where you were removed from what we call the world, this normal society, if you haven't had an opportunity to unplug from that for a month to 9 months to a year, you really haven't figured out who you are and how you tick. Take some time to figure out what you want out of life, where you are in life, who's negative, who's positive, are you the negative or positive person? Figure out you. Figure out what's best for you. And if we would actually take the time to self-reflect, you can start our healing process and we won't be so cancerous to each other. And that's really the moral of this whole thing, man. It's about, like Mike say, we want to make the world a better place. Like, that's really what this is about, because the future generation depend on this. I mean, we can have a world full of beautiful people, or we can have a world full of internet personalities with OnlyFans accounts. So that's how we're looking at it.
That's what Brandon trying to do anyway. So
what you talking about?
Yeah, he said he wants the OnlyFans.
I'm gonna be out there with my robe on. Look, watch next episode. I'm gonna be in the robe, smoking my cigars. Chilling.
Real tobacco or the bubbles? Look, real tobacco or the bubbles? Which one?
Real tobacco.
Oh, okay. Now I'm gonna get the one with the pipe. I always wanted the pipe with the bubbles for some reason.
I'm getting the bubbles too.
I'm down with that. I'll order us some.
Man. I mean, yeah. Oh man, we really just gonna be just chilling.
I think that's really something that
I need that with a Kango.
Oh Lord, he already can't go. Lord Jesus, I'm done. This boy here. Well, shit. Well, since we sitting here saying that, I might as well give me a fedora and call it a day.
I ain't against it. That in the members only jacket, you in the game.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, man. So I think self-healing is a big thing.
And sometimes you got to make a sacrifice to get to a point where you feel like you can be at your best.
Yeah. Well, that's what we all should want to be, though. We should want to be at our best. I mean, that's how you push yourself, your family, your friends, and the entire society forward. You have to be at your best. And your best is not this sickness that we have walking around where we're not here. We actually have to have control over our mind in order to have control over our affairs and operate in a majority concept. Yeah. Like right now, we're operating in a mental capacity as minors. That's not how we're supposed to be. You got some adults, man, still pointing fingers at people. I'm like, nah, account for yourself. If we can do that as individuals, which starts with this self-healing process, which is ongoing and everlasting up until the day you die. But if we can maintain ourselves and build foundation upon foundation until we can build something else that this foundation can withstand, you know what I'm saying, we good. But other than that, man, it's all bad. And we just going to be a bunch of miserable people. And I really need this to happen because, I mean, I'm tired of seeing people, you know what I'm saying, taking themselves out the game. You know, like the suicide stuff is really bothering me. Because you got a bunch of people, man, that are real good souls and they dealing with something, and I can't understand what's happening in these people's mind as to where they want to take themselves out. I'm like, nah, man, let's deal with this.
That goes back
like we really have to attack this problem.
We need that help, though. That goes to being able to have to say, I need help.
Yeah. And it goes back to being able to reflect.
It's stubbornness.
Excuse me. But it also goes back to us as people, how once we start recognizing signs in ourselves, it might help you to see others' issues to help them before they go too far.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. I'm like, man, matter of fact, I met a guy a couple of months ago. Buddy of mine, man, they had a performance at this one place. And I met this dude, man. I mean, on the surface, he seemed like he was fine. You know what I'm saying? Big smile, Kool-Aid smile. Everybody around here knew him. I don't know the guy personally. And come to find out, you know, he had been battling this immense amount of depression, and you can never tell. I'm like, dude, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying, sadly, he took himself out, you know what I'm saying, not too long ago, a couple of days ago. But, you know what I'm saying, they hit home because I'm like, hey, man, you brushing shoulders with people, and we don't know what's wrong with them. And sometimes I feel like they may not know what's wrong with themselves. And I'm like, yo, if having to go sit on that couch with a shrink or whatever you want to call them is a part of your self-healing process, you got to do that. Because your life is a whole lot more valuable than what you give it credit for. You got a bunch of people out here that would love to spend the rest of their life with you, whether it's your life partner or it's your friends or it's your family. We don't want to lose nobody to something as tragic as, you know what I'm saying, a suicide situation. Like, understand that you love and people going, you know what I'm saying, we're going to accept you no matter what. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a way that we can help, we're going to help. But it all starts with you healing yourself. It's a long process, man. If you got people that are being a real life war with you, we'll fight this mental war with you. We'll fight that. And I'm like, man, that's why I started something that we really got to get with.
And that's why I was so keen on wanting to start this and get this out there for that reason.
Well, fellas, it's like we done hit our time.
We'll keep going till it tells us no.
Sir, it's been 50 minutes. We'll keep trying to be professional with this thing.
We'll keep going till it tells us no. Zoom, you can't stop us.
It's not about Zoom. I'm talking about wanting people to be watching the show. Can't be too long.
Oh, yeah. They're going to catch it in the archives.
Right.
All right.
All right.
Well, good talk, boys. We'll set something up for next week.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So,
we're just chilling. Right. We may have to, you know, dibble dabble back into this, you know, and
we can talk about it a little bit more next week.
We can talk about a lot. We can talk about this.
They not my sponsors. Look, they're not our sponsors, but if you drink scotch or if you don't drink scotch, you need to get you some of these.
Here he goes.
Yeah, this is it. This is it.
There he goes. Hey man, listen,
Yes.
Country Road. That's why I watch my anime. I use Fire Anime 2 on the Fire Stick. So if you guys need that anime stuff, that's what I use. Sometimes I use Kiss Anime. Sometimes, but oh damn.
What you talking about, man? I'm gonna record
Yeah.
this just to have that shit in the background.
Oh,
This
hey,
is the start. I just add on. Let's go.
The bloopers.
Reboot. Nah, we ain't chilling no more. We lit.
I had my drink.
Oh man.
Bro, I was rushing. Look.
Oh yeah. Oh, you already know it.
Anytime I say a time, it's gonna be my time. Okay. I'm not even there. I forget what another state there.
Hey, bro, we gotta own our own platform for all that. We gotta own our own platform for all that. Where it's like, drop it. We ain't worried about no time limit. You on here till you ain't on here no more.
Right.